Break it up a little bit.
Break it up. This is like an Oreo cookie.
Yeah, it is like an Oreo cookie.
So what's on the agenda for today?
We're just talking about market, current events. I mean, that's, I think, the most important thing that's on top of mind, right? I mean, or interest rates.
Yeah,
The market. That's definitely a big buzz. I mean, let's delve into that.
So
What's going on with you?
my head is spinning a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, it's been, I'd say, I remember when I used to work as a manager at Best Buy back in 2001. And, Black Friday, my first Black Friday, and everybody, coming in for that plasma TV.
Lining up outside.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, right now, it's really the Black Friday of loans. I mean, I've never seen anything like this out of, the 3-4 refi booms that we've seen.
Let's call it like more Loan Depot-esque, would be like Cyber Friday.
Seriously.
Right? I mean,
it is like
we are, exactly.
Applications are coming in.
They sure are. We're really cranking them out, and technology and organization's a big piece of being prepped for this kind of thing, because I think that a lot of lenders right now are not really prepared for this, no matter who you are, but as long as you've been framing up, having really good technology from the bottom up, you're going to be in a much, much better position. Like for us, for example, we're locking our loans for 60 days, and we just started doing that, where some of the big banks are locking in their loans for 120 days, which all this could change. It could change for us, it could change for the big banks, but it goes to highlight the point. People are getting in line to lock in the rates.
Yes, and also one of the things I'm really taking notice of too is that a few other lenders have been talking about appraisals, and that that appraisals are going to take a lot longer. That's not the case, especially for us. So when people have their purchases, and we are all about respecting contingency dates, close of escrow, so we are on top of appraisals, and that takes the utmost importance. So even though there's this massive refi boom, we are still very mindful of what's happening in the market for purchases.
So you're seeing still 21, 30-day close, no problem, no issues with removing cases.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have one right now. We just put on 15-day close, and we don't have any problem doing it, because in this kind of market, it is all about understanding that it's about priority.
Yes.
And setting expectations and understanding the borrower and having that clear communication. Now, it doesn't mean that, not everybody needs to go out and close in 15 days, but, there are situations where you need to close in 15 days, as you know, in order to be competitive, right? Are you seeing that, still these days?
We're seeing, not too extreme. There are some more isolated situations. A property's priced real aggressively, so you naturally get more momentum, more buyers putting in offers and submitting, at which point you need to be more aware of the contingency periods, the close of escrow. There may be a sensitivity both ways, though. It could be that they need more time, or they want to tighten things up and be more aggressive on those terms. But on that note too, overall, we're seeing steady momentum. Really, the buyers that are pre-approved are out there shopping, looking. There's definitely an awareness of what's going on externally, but I think the majority of people I'm working with are still out there doing what they need to do to get into a property, looking. Definitely bringing our hand sanitizer with us, and not shaking hands, or just being aware, doing things that I think are just good practice anyway, to incorporate, but in a more intentional way. But also too, on the other side, the sellers I'm working with, they're still moving forward, doing pre-listing preparations, getting the properties ready, and so it'll be interesting to see how the next couple of weeks really play out, because right now it seems like there's definitely a bit of a different atmosphere change overall, but not a momentum change, if that makes sense.
No, that makes so much sense, because I think that people can be predictable in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of fear happening right now, and some of it's understandable. But at the same time, people need the perspective of looking at it, especially if you think about the primary market. Now, the Dow closed today at just a little south of 26,000 points. which is still extremely high in the grand big picture. I mean, this has been a bull market for 7-8 years. So when you have a bull market going on for that long, that type of exponential growth, it's still, you know, if you started investing in 2013 and you're looking at it now, you're still up from 2013. You know, and I think that people need to stand back and really have that proper vantage point. And talk about vantage points. People, I think a lot of times, you know, the news kind of stirs up a lot of emotion, especially lately. It could be political, but it's also in regards to rates.
Right.
And there's a lot happening with rates right now. One thing that people really need to pay attention to is the fact that there is a litany, I should say more of a cavalcade of people, just like Joe was saying earlier, of people applying to get refinances done right now. What starts to happen with that is what is known as servicer runoff. All these banks and these entities that service loans, whether it's Mr. Cooper, Wells Fargo, what have you, these servicers of loans we're projecting to have X amount of loans that they're servicing. That's part of their revenue stream.
Yeah, they've got to staff up, right?
Exactly.
Or prepare for this. You know, the floodgates have opened. Now, what do we got to prepare for?
Yes.
Or react to it?
And part of the reaction is that when you're losing all these loans that you thought you were going to have because all these people are refinancing, a lot of banks are starting to pad their rates a little more. So even though today we saw again the 10-year Treasury note, which really influences mortgage-backed securities, you see that type of activity. You think, oh, rates must be even way lower than when I locked a couple weeks ago. That's not the case.
Right.
And if anything, over the past few days, I've seen quite a few banks in our competition. Actually, rates go up a little bit through all this.
Right. There's not a direct correlation between federal fund rate versus mortgage rates.
Where you normally would see that, but because of the kind of market we are in, we're not seeing
right
that.
Now.
We're seeing a lot more fragmentation between lenders, and I only predict that that's going to happen more and more because of the unpredictability of the market, which actually was something that
So the important
expected.
thing, too, then, what I would imagine as a consumer to do would be get your application in, get your underwritten as much as you can, and be prepared. Be ready to lock. If you're happy with the rate, lock. If you want to float and ride the market, then at least you're ready to be, know what you can work with.
Yes, 100%. Right now, one of the things that I'm doing, because we love, as much as we love the crystal ball, we just don't have it. So as an originator,
I'll be a multi-millionaire.
Right. So as somebody who's trying to give guidance and not having that answer, the best guidance that I think we try to give is, hey, like you said, let's look at your situation. Where do you benefit most? Ensuring that you do benefit, and if you do, you lock in your rate. And what we do is we have a free float down option where customer pays a $250 refundable at closing fee up front, and then if rates go down by 0.25% and more, they can float it down before they close. Having that safety net there is nice because they've met the basically the standard of saving what they need to, but knowing they have the peace of mind if rates go down and they can float it down.
Right. Exactly. Purchase buyers, they're probably not doing so much of the strategizing with locking in, or maybe they are. But I think right now there's a great opportunity, right? If you're locking in, you're seeing if you applied a couple weeks ago versus today, a big difference, half, maybe more percent, right? And what your rate's going to be, which can change your mind.
People who bought in October.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some customers who bought in October and closed, and we're saving them a good half to 5/8 on the rate, and depending on where that person was at, it may also be that the individual had a 700 credit score when they closed last year. Maybe they have a 740 or 760 on their on their score now. So there's two factors, right? Number one, their credit scores improved their pricing that they can get today, and you have better rates. So you might see a 1 point swing from somebody who bought a year ago, right? Or even 6 months ago.
Especially February 2019 compared to February 2020. February 2019, you were looking at, let's just say, 4.625 to 4.75 rate. Now you're looking at, for a purchase, maybe somewhere in the low threes, depending on your scenario and your situation. So that's over a point difference.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is huge.
So year over year, you're refining.
And
if you bought last year.
Yeah, and if you're one of those people who refied last year in August to September when rates took a nice dip, you're still in a good place. It's not as if you missed out on this great opportunity, because think about these months of savings that you were able to get. And if you refi again, but it's not. Sometimes people make the mistake of thinking like, oh, I should have waited, or I wish I had my crystal ball, but nobody does. And if you're saving money, you still made a wise decision.
Yeah, and you make a good point, because if you refi early on in your amortization schedule, right, within the first couple of years, you're not 10, 15 years into it, and
right,
where most of your payments going towards, or more of your payments going towards the principal than the interest, at which point you're resetting the clock, right, if you go into a 30-year not an equal duration loan term.
Exactly. So you really want to pay attention to your upfront fees, and a lot of people get really hooked on the rate. They see the nice, bright, shiny rate, and right? Exactly. So, and we all do that, but see, what people don't understand is that you can get any rate you want. It's that, but what cost you're going to pay up front for that rate. So, one of my strategies for myself and what I share with my clients, if they so choose to, based on the time they're going to be in the home, take a little bit of a higher rate, let the lender pay the majority of the closing costs for you. If you, like me, think that it's very possible these rates go down, right? And it's predicted that they could go down even more. Don't know for sure, but if they did, and you do it at a low cost, a year from now, if you go to refinance it, you're not kicking yourself in the rear because you did. You can just keep kind of riding the wave, so to speak. And one of the things that's nice and we talk about is we have our lifetime guarantee. So once you've done a loan with us, after you've had your loan with us for a year, we pay all your lender fees and your appraisal fee, which is usually your only fee that you pay up front when you're doing a refi anyways.
Right.
So, again, I found that it's getting a lot of customers who, are maybe apprehensive to make the decision, more prone to say, let's do it. Right. Especially when they understand.
Sure. Yeah.
They really understand.
Especially in the way, in being a consumer of Loan Depot, a client actually, I can speak to that as well. Knowing, the numbers, what you put together through your system makes it so clear. Like, it's just black and white. Here are your options, here are the numbers, here's the savings, and here's the cost. And then you can make a decision.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie.
Being educated in what the numbers are showing exactly.
And with the market doing what it's doing right now, some people say it's just tanking, and again, stand back and have perspective, but where's one of the best places to put your money right now, Tim? What do you think?
Mattress.
Yeah?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, backyard. Can't take them anywhere.
I'm going to say real estate, just on a hunch. Yeah.
Just on a hunch, right?
Just on a hunch, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, park it in real estate. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great investment. It's a great tax shelter. It's a tangible one. Especially in this area, I don't see things fluctuating too much, and it should be part of a real diversified portfolio. And I think it's always good to at least consider.
Well, and our real estate is taking up a huge portion of all of our monthly outflow, no matter what. You're talking about where you live, your actual home, the cost of your home is taking up most of your budget.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you are prudent in how you basically, whether it be paying down your mortgage quicker or just utilizing obviously the tax benefits and things like that, that is such a big factor of your overall monthly outcome.
Yeah.
That really from that perspective, I'd agree.
Yeah. Another thing, a great thing about working with Loan Depot too, and especially if you're concerned about human interaction with the coronavirus, as you can do everything online, which is great.
Yes,
you don't even have to come to the office.
Virtual.
You don't even have to see these bugs right here.
Nice hoodie, by the way.
Yeah, sometimes I run from my house into here and I'll be in my gym stuff, and that's okay. We can still do loans the same.
Yes, we can. Yeah, great to work with. Thanks, you guys, for helping put this together, facilitating. I think this is good information. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment. We want to hear feedback. We'd love to know if there are topics that you want us to cover. If you don't like my hoodie, if you like Joe's better, you think I should be wearing black. These are important things.
Yes,
No, just
yes.
on a more serious note, though. Please let us know. We'd love to even get guest speakers in, and we're talking about that. And always interested in what you have to say. So thank you for watching, and
Thank you.
being in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Oh.